Welcome to the Occult Rejects. This episode, we got a returning guest, the Mormon Slayer herself, Heidi. But before we introduce her, for the new people who don't know who she is, we're going to introduce Jules. Jules, my man, what is going on? The Mississippi Mystic, how are you?
Nick, thank you for having me again. As always, Heidi, it's lovely to see you. Happy to be here tonight. Happy to be off work today. And happy Mulk Day, everybody. If you don't know what that means, we can maybe get into that a little later. But yeah, I'm Jules, host of the Great Pill Podcast. You can find me on Occult Rejects every now and then, most of the time on the weekends. Me and Headless Giant have a series we're doing called Rustic Gods. So tune into that, hopefully Wednesday night. We'll be talking about Psyche and Eros. And then best way to support the show, well, you can find me over on Twitter at Great Pill Pod, at Instagram, Great Pill _podcast, YouTube and Rumble. It's all just Great Pill Podcast, all Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places. And then if you want to support the show, best way is Patreon. And we do a lot of cool stuff over there. All the merch that's starting to roll out, stickers, and the first shirts are going to be only available on Patreon. You get exclusive content, Elohim etymology episodes. They are going to start to air there first again. And then we're doing esoteric book reviews over there. This week, chapter 2 on the Epic of Gilgamesh, we get to explore further how what was his name? Enkidu and Gilgamesh may have been more than just companions. And yeah, it's a little weird. And then we're going to start our adventures into the Volsung sagas, which I'm very excited to talk about. Sigurd and his hero's journey and all that good stuff. So yeah, anyway, happy to be here. Stoked for this discussion tonight. And it's good to see all the people in the chat showing up.
I forgot about the Enkidu and the Gilgamesh relationship.
Yeah, man. He looks at him as a woman. So it says.
It like a
he looks upon him as a woman.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Jules, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so now we got Heidi. Please, Heidi, for people who don't know who you are, because it has been a bit since you've come on and we do have new listeners, please let everybody know what you did, what you do, what your job, what your deal is. And maybe even if you want to plug some of the things that you've done on the show for other people to go and check out. Go for it.
Sure. So hopefully you guys aren't hearing me cough in between. Is my mute working okay?
Yeah.
No,
should be good.
Okay. Because, we have the greatest air out here in Utah. Haha. No, we don't. I am Heidi Luv of the Unfiltered podcast. If you don't know me, I am an ex-Mormon and I love the church and I speak out about it. I'm stuck in Utah with like the worst pollution in the world right now. No, not the world, but at least in America. And I have done lots with Nick and the Occult Rejects. I'm an Occult Reject myself. It's just been a minute because we've all been running and hitting our like different little areas of expertise. So I'm happy to be back. We've done Mormon Mafia. We've done all kinds of episodes about that. I think we've done 4 maybe, and then another one just about Mormonism. So yeah, it's been awesome. Every time we get on here and talk, it's amazing because we get a different meeting of the minds. I feel like we were just talking about this and it's really important for that. I think you'll never know the truth if you don't look at the whole truth, right? If we all have this like tunnel vision, we're never going to figure anything out. So that's why I love it when we can have a meeting of the minds. And hello to everyone out there. You can find me on unfilteredrisepodcast.com. You can find me on Spotify. That's the best place to find me. I have over 200 episodes for you there and here on YouTube, but way less. I can't put some of the stuff I talk about here. And so some of it goes on Patreon as well. There's really some stuff I can't put out there. So yeah, we do a lot of things like that. You can check me out all those places, but I'm certainly happy to be back. And as always, get a kick out of Nick the Cardinal calling me the Mormon Slayer.
Well, you are. I mean, for real, between you and Justin, the amount of work you guys have brought to this channel on fucking Mormonism, I'm like proud to host. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it all comes with receipts. All has receipts. Yes, and nobody's making 100%. Anything up. There's so much fucked up shit out there. You don't need to make anything up.
No, the only thing we that I conjecture anyway is side-by-side photos because like you can't prove bloodlines, but damn, I'll just say sometimes you get some people that look like each other that aren't related. Weird. Don't know why. So with that, today I have quite the show. And this show came out of absolutely nowhere for me. It was really weird. Is sometimes I get bored and I just do things like put in Joseph Smith and John Dee because I am related to John Dee. He is in my genealogy. He is one of my great uncles. Yeah. Well, because I'm a Medici anyway. Like, it's all a mess. It's a hot mess express. Yeah.
I still got to get you on the show to talk about all this.
Believe me, no one was more surprised than me because I slept through like all of this genealogy stuff that I thought wasn't important. But my grandma, she was a genealogy missionary. That's a real thing. Since I've talked to you guys, I found out they also pay people in county to enter the genealogy in for the Mormons. How fun is that? You can earn like some amount of cents per hour to do that. So it's not like they're not putting the stuff in all the ways they can. So pretty wild.
No, it's true. We have somebody who's related to John,
who's related to Kelly,
and somebody who's related to Edward Kelly.
I'm gonna start speaking.
Hey,
Archangel Gabriel.
We can't get together and talk because it'll be a mess. Did you read that? No,
Pallid masker.
Oh boy, we'd be in trouble. But there's a lot of things about Mormonism that are hidden, and I'm gonna share my screen here because a picture's worth 1,000 words. Today there's a lot of wordy pictures, but it's easier this way. It's gonna have like forever windows in just a second, but then it will fix out. But when I did this little search and I was like, hey, what about this and this? What about these things together? What does this mean? And it didn't. I just thought I was just like Googling for genealogy's sake, but this weird thing popped up. Have you guys heard about the Book of Madog?
I've heard of it. Yes,
I've heard of Madog.
Okay,
that's probably what I heard of.
Book of Madog.
There is a Book of Madog by John Dee, and I want people to look at these two things because the top one is the Book of Mormon, and the bottom one is the Book of Madog, and I'm going to read it line for line. So the first line is from the Book of Mormon. I, Nephi, being born of goodly parents, therefore I was taught somewhat in all the learning of my father. Okay, this one on the bottom is from John Dee, and it says, I, Madog, born of goodly parents, was taught somewhat in the learning of my father. Nevertheless, having seen many afflictions, and then the top one also says, therefore I make a record of the proceeding of my days. He doesn't talk about his afflictions, but he did on the bottom for Madog. I make a recording of the day as a vagabond upon the face of the earth. Okay, look at those and tell me how similar those are. It's concerning. I, Nephi, being born of goodly parents is a line that we all know from Mormonism. Okay. And feel free to interrupt because I can't see you guys. So anything you want to say, just let me know. And I'm still coming in. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay,
oh yeah. That's right. You have it up.
See.
That's right. Yo, you remember that one time I think you got disconnected and you were going for so long and we were trying to tell her like, yo, we can't.
Yes. That's why I check every once in a while.
Yeah. That was so funny. I felt so bad.
So I wished it would stop and let me still see you guys, but it won't. So these two things together are a little shocking to me. I've never heard about anybody named Madog, or as he's commonly spoke of as Madog.
Okay. It sounds a lot like Magog.
It does. It sounds similar to that. Yeah. But this gets into a really weird story. So this is a real story. And well, at least the people. I don't know how real the actual things are that happened in history, but I dare say they probably were true. So this is Prince Madog, okay, or Madog, as he's often spoke about. And honestly, at the end of the day, this legend, as we'll call it, it doesn't matter if it's true. It's going to tie some things together for us that a lot of people blame the Mormons for. Like, I'm actually almost helping Mormons with this presentation, which is weird, but truth is truth. Right. So we have to lay out all truth regardless. But they talk about this Welsh. He was Welsh. OK. And, they even used to have a sign up here. OK. In memory of Prince Madog, a Welsh explorer who landed on the shores of Mobile Bay, Alabama in 1170 and left behind with the Indians the Welsh language. Now, don't forget about Joseph Smith and his Reformed Egyptian, because we're going to talk about it today. But this right here was taken down. Why? Why are they trying to hide things so hard. Like it's very strange. This goes into, I know you guys love to talk about mounts. This goes into mounts. This goes into definitely the snake mounts, because Prince Madog's sign was a dragon, which can often be, interpreted like a snake.
Yeah.
And so his signs and stuff, like all of his flags and everything, are very indicative of these different things. And that there were some historians that actually explored this whole thing. But this ends up playing into the Mormon religion and the Book of Mormon, even more importantly, excessively, because apparently this Prince Madog, who landed before Columbus, which causes a giant problem for America if this story is true, which is why I dare say they had to cover it up if it is true, which there's a lot of proof that it might be true, because there's this whole race of natives that became known as the Mandan that came out of this marriage between Prince Madog and his new bride here in America. So they were known as the fair Welsh Indians. And, this Coptic Welsh, this ancient language, looks almost identical to the characters that we see Joseph Smith translating the Book of Mormon with. And I can't help but go, wait, what? Like, okay, the books are similarly written. We've got this weird situation. We've got green-eyed or hazel-eyed or blue-eyed Native Americans with fair skin. And they're actually, have you heard of the Mooney Indians?
Yeah, I have.
Moon-eyed people. These are the Mandan. Okay. And so something about the Mandan, the Moon-eyed people is what they called them. But the problem with it is they just say, well, they're just the Moon-eyed people because they only came out at night because of their fair skin and stuff. Well, that's not exactly why. That's not the only reason why. And so this is another Mandan. And the Mandan eventually left the area. Well, not all of them, but some of them migrated up to North Dakota area, which there's a Mandan, North Dakota. And if you're right there by Canada, I can't help but wonder if they didn't go into the other tribes in Canada. And so I haven't found all of that yet, because I was just getting to the point where we just explore this at a base and then we'll go from there. But this causes a lot of issues, because if Spain didn't own America, because Christopher Columbus came here, and they made all these different treaties with not only the natives, but, everything else that made America. Is America really the Queen's? Like the Queen of England? There's some problems with this whole story, and I can see why people are definitely not loving it. But of course, as always, the Mormons pop in there. Like, why the hell is a Mormon here? I don't know. But they're always there, right? So early Mormon connections between Mormonism and Madog, who knew, primarily stems from LDS leaders like Brigham Young reportedly believed that Welsh settlements existed on the Rio Colorado, and that the Hopi or the Mokai were the people and descendants of Madog also. Okay. This is like interesting when we're talking about the people of America and the different native tribes, and what exactly occurred, and why Mormons were telling people, go marry the natives and have children with them. Why? They didn't believe in race mixing at all. However, we both know that Aryan doesn't mean white. And so people get this, confused. That's it. They're not a part of that. So it wouldn't be breaking their little rules back then. But this whole situation, we have to look at it and say, who really owned it to claim it? If you go there to claim something, it definitely has some kind of stake, right? Like, that's the way it works. You go stick your flag in the ground, and, it ties into the white horse prophecy, which we're talking about, this racial superiority. Okay. We're talking about certain clans that believe that they are Madog's Welsh settlers. Okay. And I've talked to you a little bit before about the Kingstons. Do you remember anything about them?
No. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll talk
I'm sorry to interrupt with this, and maybe you even mentioned
Yep.
it.
No. It always interrupt, because I don't care.
Isn't there at some point, I'm a little confused. I used to know it a lot more. At some point, didn't they believe this is when I think they went on their boats and they left? And like, didn't some of them, they speculate, might have went up through like Mexico, and then like some might have came down through Canada. Was that, now what time was that? Like, what I'm getting at is, could these people be due from that story? Because even going by that story, it's prior to Christopher Columbus, if you believe it. Is this even earlier than that? Or is this around
it's
that
in
time?
the 1100s? Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope. I'll get the exact date. I think it was 1174. I just don't want to
yeah, that's,
you know,
is that before they claimed that they came here already? Is that even earlier? That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, so he came once. He got here in 1170. So Madog was like, here they either spell it Mad Dog, but it's like sounds like Madog, was, according to folklore, a Welsh prince who sailed to the Americas in 1170, over 300 years before Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
So
like
when we're talking,
when was the Nephites around?
Right. So keep this in your back pocket.
Maybe I'm on to, that's where maybe I'm ahead of
You're
myself.
You're getting there. And here's the thing. I've never heard of this before. Like, and I was a Mormon for like ever, right? Like I knew about the Vikings and I knew about Canada. I knew about all of that, but I didn't know about this Madog. I've never heard of this once in my life, but that's because it's more of a thing for people like in the older or the FLDS, because the Kingstons are FLDS. But we do have some things that prove sort of that he was here. Okay. And there's these two people that were Mormon, Alan Wilson and James Michael, that tried to prove this. And they are going to do a whole Fritz Springmeier on these people. They go to prison and nobody can trust them because they're crazy. But I looked it up and it said they just handled some painting they weren't supposed to or something. It was weird. But they hardcore went after these people that were trying to prove all this. And they were doing a pretty good job. I've watched about 30 different videos. I've read books about this at this point. Like, it's crazy. But I mean, we will never know what history is because they're going to hide it forever. But we do know this. They have chevrons, circle crosses, Awen signs, national banner, brass bracelets, an epitaph stone, an elegy alphabet, and jawbone, supposedly, of Prince Madog. So the Smithsonian ended up with it, and they won't give it up. And these guys that I'm telling you about that were pushing to have it done, like the DNA, all of a sudden end up in prison. Like, I just find that kind of a little weird. They do this to a lot of people, right? Here, if you get annoying, I didn't do it. Yeah. I've not broken any laws. So you get a little annoying, they kind of try and put you in prison. So the whole thing about it is, like I said, this was like a narrative of John Dee. He wrote the book. But when we look at it and we know, this whole discovery in Alabama, don't forget where the Nazis went, by the way. Anyway, and the Welsh Indians. Well, it sounds kind of crazy, right? There's no proof, but I'm going to give you a little, because the funny thing about me is I'm a gigantic litmus test. And guess what? My most prominent heritage is Welsh.
Me too. I'm Welsh as well.
So it's strange out in the middle of like nowhere, Utah. Like what? Like, I mean, okay. Yeah. It's weird, a little weird. And then I have this Aboriginal Canadian. I mean, I have these things that they're kind of talking about, which mine is Micmac, but I'm just saying, if they went up through North Dakota, I mean, the tribe's most likely mixed.
Somebody actually mentioned Micmac maybe with this just before.
The Micmac is very interesting with this, and I want to flush it out more before I bring in another tribe, because I don't want to like upset anyone, but the tribes are going to come up again and again. We know one thing: in Utah, we have Four Corners. It's a really important place for the natives, right? Plus, we have the missionaries that were actually going out and doing Native American work. We have them learning their how to speak, and we have this tie, which is exactly where I want to go next. So perfect. We have this Moors Indian charity school, which was really Dartmouth. Okay. There's no separation between the two. It is like the prep school to become a preacher to the Native Americans. Okay. That's what this is. And guess who went there? Well, Joseph Smith came from a bunch of hillbillies that just worked the ground and didn't know how to read or write, but for some reason got in his brother to this fancy prep school, and they actually lived there on the premises of Dartmouth for like a while. I think it was like over 5 years or something. So we've got Eleazar Wheelock, who created this school with who? A Native American, like Samson Occam. And so Samson Occam is really important. He's going to go into places like Oneida later and all of this stuff. This gets very interesting. He was one of the first that ever became like a preacher that was a native in that area. And so he actually went on a mission to create the money for this school and everything. But also Thomas Jefferson and various missionaries were actively searching for these Welsh Indians. So this is like, it's not just like a wise tale and nobody's doing anything about it. This is like serious. People are running all over trying to find these people. And so obviously it means something. And we know that history is a piece of our time. Back in the day, if you told me Christopher Columbus was a bad guy when I was like 9, I would have told you no way. Because right. Like, no, school. So we've got that here as well. Right? We've got the school telling us. And not only that, we have these other accounts like the Chronica Welly, written by Humphrey Lloyd. This is the earliest surviving account that claims Madog visited America. John Dee used this unpublished manuscript to build his legal case for the Queen Elizabeth I, and make a treaty, asserting her right to North America, Terra Florida, based on Madog's 1170 voyage. So this is going to be a huge problem if this were real. Like, I mean, clearly John Dee is going hard in the paint for old Lizzie girl. I mean, there was already some weird stuff there, so whatever. I mean, he's trying his best, right? And I'm just saying, like, it's not just that. Here's another one: the history of Cambria, the principal navigations, all of this stuff like goes back to this Madog, and it matters. Why does it matter? Well, because just like I showed you that book, right? That book is very similar to one another. So if the book is similar to the Book of Mormon, enough to where you can kind of hear it in those two side by sides, and it is very similar, we get to something else. Have you ever heard of the Solomon Spalding manuscript?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, no? Okay, so the Solomon Spalding manuscript is something that became extremely important, and I still say is very important for the Mormons, because they kind of fight against it. I can't find the Solomon Spalding slide, so just don't look right now. So Solomon Spalding is somebody that they say Joseph Smith actually stole the Book of Mormon from, okay? That he basically, went to this area and the guy had a copy of this book and he just stole it. Maybe I didn't put it in there. But Solomon Spalding also went to, guess where? He went to Dartmouth. And guess when? At the exact same time as everybody else, including Stephen Mack Jr., who attended Morris Charity School, i.e. Dartmouth Indian College, as well, at the same time as his cousin Hiram. Who is Stephen Mack Jr.? That is Joseph Smith's mother's brother's son. So we've got all these people, and of course, it's going to sound the same. If Solomon Spalding went at the same time as Stephen Mack Jr. and as Hiram Smith, and they're all family and buddies, whatever, the class load is not very big, they're going to learn the same thing. Right? Like, come on, they're going to learn the same narrative. It's why some people will say, you plagiarized my channel because you said that word for word. I'm like, it's a book, weirdo. Yeah, it's going to sound the same. Like, that's like going to church and having the pastor say a sermon that another pastor said and say, that's plagiarism, because he read that verse. No, they're teaching the same stuff.
I've seen people do that, actually.
Oh, it happens.
I've seen people use like Program to Kill, like use that book, and like one person claimed the other person kind of bit them off, but it's just like, no, you just both read the book.
Yeah, exactly. You read the book.
Like,
so,
chill out.
It's stupid. Yeah, exactly. Go take a nap. I mean, it's like, What are you doing? But when we talk about this, we have to understand that Dartmouth at this time, or Dartmouth, whatever, however you say it, all these people from Joseph Smith's family are here. Remember, they're supposed to be dumb farmers. They're not supposed to be reading and writing and all the things. But Hiram was actually really brilliant. And he is actually teaching Joseph Smith because Joseph was sick at this time. And it says so. Where does it say so? In his mother's book. It says she had Hiram teach Joseph. And what was he actually going to school for? For the preacher thing and a teacher. So, okay, he's going and taking all these lessons to Joseph Smith. So I don't think he stole crap from Solomon Spaulding. And I also don't think they didn't see angels just because people want to say that. No, remember where we're getting some of this curriculum from? Who's come up? John Dee. If they are teaching John Dee's curriculum for the Welsh, don't you think they might be teaching them some other stuff too if they're in this esoteric, folk magic-y time where they're becoming preachers? Mm-hmm. Maybe they learned how to channel because they're Martinists. Like, let's be real.
I will say if they are kind of basing their stuff off of them, I would just assume, just like, I mean, any other kind of order that's associated with the person, would also like suggest whatever that person was into would be worth studying as well. You know what I'm saying? So they are going to suggest
exactly.
Other well, yeah.
And we know that religion at this time can be a lot different than nowadays. A lot more, they call it as it is, right? They'll say, oh, you're a mystic or you're a new ager, but back then Christian meant a lot of different things, you know? And so we have to understand about who's teaching these kids, who's teaching all these people, right? Well, let's meet one of them, Dr. John Smith. This is Joseph Smith's father's cousin. That's right. He's the first professor of Dartmouth. It just gets so good.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a master of ancient languages, but remember, none of them can read and write. Don't worry. All right. Theology, philosophy, Newtonian science. He is the board trustee. He is the pastor, very important, of Whitechapel. He is the college bookstore proprietor. He is also the college librarian. He has developed the curriculum for Greek, Latin, Hebrew, Chaldaic, Syriac, Assyriac, and Arabic and Coptic. Okay, but nobody can read and write. He's a master of languages. He's a polyglot. And don't forget, he's a chaplain of Hanover Masonic Lodge. Weird.
Oh.
Go
figure. How would you even get that high up there if you didn't know how to read and write?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a bunch of baloney. And yeah, it's lies. It's lies on lies on lies. And I think it's funny because this shows it in black and white. It's like,
he was blind too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's
probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on over there? And when we talk about John Dee, right, we've got him involved in what? Well, rumors are a Rosicrucian order, right? What's the Rosicrucian order called that he's suspected of being in? The Zionitic Brotherhood. Where have you heard that word in Mormonism before? Like Zion? Everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Mormons are in love with Zion, just so people know. And yeah, they love it. And so having, as he said, having existed as the Order of Zion for centuries with their headquarters in the village of where? Mormont, pronounced Mormon, Belgium. Mormawn, Mormon. It's so much fun. I didn't even mean to find this, and it made me giggle so bad. I was like, this is great. This is great. Okay, so they claim to hold the Melchizedek priesthood. I bet they did.
And that is associated with Mormonism too, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the high priesthood. You bet. Mm-hmm. Yep. All the elders that ever have gotten married in the temple or gone on missions hold the Melchizedek priesthood, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's all, that's the priesthood that you see in the Old Testament as well. I've been telling people in Genesis 32, Jacob is initiated into a priesthood.
Yes.
He finds the eye of God, and then he meets his brother in 33. I mean, it's the Masonic coding is right there if you can read it. But Yes, it does
100%.
go to the Melchizedek and the Order of the Flame and all that stuff, which we dived into on Patreon for a couple months. So
Absolutely correct. And do you know what I know you speak about this, so I don't know if you know this, but do you know what the Mormons call their God?
No.
Elohim.
Okay. There you go.
So yeah, I definitely know what we'll talk about when you come on, or vice versa, whatever. We got to talk about some Elohim.
And they claim to be Christians.
Definitely.
They claim to be Christians. Elohim God.
Yeah, they claim to be Christian, and this is my problem. I don't care. Look, I don't care what you want to do. Like, if you want to go be naked nymphs in the forest, go do it. But stop lying to people, okay?
Yeah,
like,
that's what makes it weird. When you start
grandmas.
lying, it's like you're hiding something.
Exactly. Well, they're taking little grandmas that believe they're just going to heaven, and they're taking all these nice people that just think they're not that other people. Hey, naked nymphs can be nice too. I'm not saying they're not nice.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
I'm just saying that they're taking this, they're making porch Mormons, right? And they're doing it for a reason, because you have to have the porch Masons or the porch Mormons or the porch whoever to hide the shit that you're doing, because you can't be going doing woo-woo stuff on Saturday or Thursday or whatever day you're going and hide it very well if other people aren't there, right? It's easier if people are there to have dinner and
gotta have the face of the organization and the face of the place. I know what you're saying.
Exactly. And they've got to hide it. So why would they want to stop being called Mormons? Well, what if it's because they don't want to be associated with the headquarters in the Village of Mormon? Yeah, in Belgium, the Zionotic Brotherhood. So look, I don't know. I just know this fits with that a whole lot. I know that the Native Americans are very critical for the Mormons. And I know some other things that's very interesting that we're going to get to. And it just doesn't make any sense on what they say it is, right? On its face. Like, we know that, everybody rolls their eyes when we say Priory of Zion. We know.
Oh my God. I was just looking that up right now. I just clicked on it.
Yeah. And
Priory of Zion. Yeah.
Yes. And which did what, sold their monastery in Mormont, or it's pronounced Mormon because it's French. Don't put the T on. Belgium, and moved to America. Okay. I can't prove this. Okay. This is a narrative that they say happened. How would we know? I don't know. I showed you all the books that have mentioned all the things. I can't prove this, but it is out there. And so, when David Livingston came on, just barely, and we went down this whole narrative, and I don't know that he loved me interrupting, but I had to do it because I was like, look, I know you want to say these things. Like, he's got a very prepared, kind of like Gary Wayne. He likes to do like in a row sort of, but I like to ask questions, and especially about Mormons, because if you have all this information and I can't ask you anything, that's not going to help me. So it was amazing. Actually, it was just amazing. And I think that's the thing that people miss, is we shouldn't just let the presenter present. That's why I always say, please interrupt me, because we're never going to have a real conversation, and I won't know your knowledge and you won't know his knowledge. We all have to talk, which isn't what they want us to do. Mm-hmm. That's why we have no philosophers anymore. So, yeah. So there's that. Unless you're talking about, silly things on some really big podcasts that gets paid a lot, right? Like a fancy, who I'm talking about. He's bald, he's short and little. I don't know, whatever. These famous people that used to run things like Eat Bugs and I'll pay you money. That's great. Okay. Look, I'm not going to shame anybody. I think that's fun time. I used to watch it religiously because I thought it was crazy. Because I would not eat a hissing cockroach. No. No. And so I'm just saying, like, that's fun, but like this stuff, nobody lets people do this with more important things, or like old history or religion. What do they tell you? Don't talk about religion, right? And politics. And why don't they want you to talk about that? Because you just might find you have more in common with the guy you think's an idiot, so they can divide you and steal your loosh. And we do this forever and eternity. And that's not my favorite. So yeah, I just don't like that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair that as a Mormon, of all my entire life born into it, I wore Masonic underwear and I didn't know. I was the last to know. and it was on my body. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. That is why I speak out. It isn't because I hate Mormons. I don't even hate the Mormon church. I just think you're unfair. You're unfair.
You know what I think
you're wrong.
is really like, well, I actually think is like really screwed up and twisted. Did you get married in the temple?
Yes.
All right, so like even then you probably know. It's probably know more now since you're looking at this stuff. When I had Carl Crusher on, and he was talking about when he got married in the temple, he said near the end, straight up Masonic shit everywhere.
Yep,
100%. Same exact symbolism and everything.
Yep. And the last thing you do, and the last like word you get, you know, when you get your passwords and everything, when you're going through the regular ceremony, not the marriage part, but the taking out your endowments, is straight up from a grimoire. It's witchcraft. And if people don't believe me, put in health in the navel, marrow in the bones, and look that up on a grimoire. You'll find it. You'll find your answer. Put in LDS, health in the navel, marrow in the bones, grimoire.
I just brought up Jacob gets touched right there on his bone, right?
That's right.
And he names the place Peniel. So
yep.
Right? Yeah, and that's 32 going into 33. It's a clear initiation.
Absolutely. So it's unfair, right? Like, this is my whole thing with the Mormon church. It's not really that it's not really about, oh, I don't like I don't like any religion personally, but I pick on them because I was one. Like, what am I supposed to do? This is what I know the most about. I'm stuck here in Utah. Like, come on, guys.
Oh yeah, it's like I could easily pick on the OTO because I was in it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you know the most. Like, it's just it is what it is. And the last part of this, it says, where did they go when they supposedly left this Mormon Belgium, right? They went to Ephrata commune near Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's very interesting.
Maybe they started those people over there.
Right. This is very interesting, right? And so spiritualism, Jane Leeds, I mean, all kinds of stuff here. First of all, also, you know, the boys were required at Dartmouth to go to church services multiple times a day. Joseph's cousin, I guess he would, like, cousin of his grandpa, which is weird, but whatever. They went to this Church of Christ. There's a whole bunch of theology out there if you want to look up. Johnny Smith, professor at Dartmouth. You can read them for yourself. There's stacks and stacks and stacks of them. They're very dry. Good luck. I read some of them, and some of them I was like, oh my gosh. But a lot of the stuff we see now is very similar to the stuff we saw then. But isn't it interesting?
Church of Christ.
Oh, of course, because the Church of Christ,
it turned him off. Like, it made him an atheist, basically.
But it's going to go into what? Quakers and, you know, Jehovah's Witness and everywhere. It goes everywhere. And why would it do that? Right?
Because like Crowley was brought up by Quakers, and I think he was actually, I think he was intrigued by Joseph Smith. I think I read that.
Oh, 100%. And what did he call Joseph Smith in the footnotes of the Moonchild book? He said he was a moonchild.
No.
Isn't it funny that I just told you? What did I tell you those people were called? Moon-eyed people, right? Now, I want you to look at my eyes, and I'm going to show you some other pictures too. But when I smile, my eyes do a really distinctive thing. They look like they turn into little moons. They do. And people say, oh, you know, this was about them not being able to see outside or whatever. But look at the eyes of some of the Mormons. I show you, and they have a look. They just do. And these people are very important. We're going to talk about them soon. But you can kind of spot a Mormon. And when you look at these people that they say, look at her eye shape. See how it turns into a moon? This is the first. This is one of the first ones that was supposedly Madog's bride. So, okay, Joseph Smith always said he was from a royal lineage. Okay, period. He said that. He stood by that. He never gave up on that. Okay. And it was kind of curious because then they made it like an allegory. Like, no, that just was because blah, blah, blah. They always have some kind of whatever, you know. And even William Clark noted that the Mandan, like, these are real explorers and stuff that are saying about this. So obviously this can't just be a conspiracy. Okay. I literally have a ton of Welsh blood. We're looking at all of this stuff. Like, it's not just me. The first language that they turned into the Book of Mormon after it was done in English is Welsh. Why? Because it makes sense. Because their people might notice something that we don't. And it wasn't just one, but look at this. Now, this is a fun one. This doesn't go to Welsh, but it is related through Irish royalty. This is from the church's study guy. This guy, Hugo Perego, this guy is hired by the church. He's a true blue Mormon. He was hired to link Smith's paternal Y chromosome, and he did, to the Nile of the 9 hostages, which is Irish royalty from the 5th century, suggesting an Ephraimite royal Irish root via adoption or migration myths. So Kingston fundamentalists amplify this as preserving the holy bloodline of Judah and Manasseh, echoing what? The Merovingian myths, divine kingship. What did I tell you? Who did I tell you I was related to before we got on here? The Medicis, Marie Antoinette. Like, it isn't to brag that up. It's because of this. It's because this stuff they say is just this crazy story of the Mormons. Then how come not just me, so many other Mormons that I know, cousins, friends, how come we all have this certain thing? Why are we all almost the same? And people just say inbreeding. Okay, that's a nice, okay, sure. I mean, yeah, but it's weird. And they literally have traced this back. And this R1B M222. And for anyone that looks into Sefer's work, you guys will see that this is not that big of a grouping. Okay. So when you look at a grouping, you might say, well, everybody's probably in that line or this line. No, this one's not like that. So, I mean, here's some links for you guys, but the Kingstons decided to do a very funny thing. And this is the Kingstons. This is one of the main ones that started it. They're FLDS, they're fundamentalists, and they look a lot different. They have the eye shape, but they kept their bloodline pure. They didn't mix with other people. And they started doing Egypt marriages, like marrying their sisters and their aunts and weirdo stuff. Maybe not sister, but it was close. They do it to this day, and they get away with it. Why? Because they made a lot of money. They got a whole bunch of money, and they hired a geneticist so they don't marry too interclosely, and they still do this to this day. And they started something called the Davis Co-op. This is another Kingston, and you'll notice one thing that they have that is a little bit different than typical Mormons, or I would say more fair looking, and not their skin, but their hair and their eyes. But the Kingstons are known for having a darker hair and a darker eyes, but a very fair skin, which is very Welsh of them. If you guys look up, Welsh traits, Irish traits, it's a little bit interesting there. And, this is some of the stuff that Prince Madog brought with him to America, supposedly. I'm just saying, I think they had some friends that started a war once and maybe tried to figure this out too. I don't know. Shit. Yeah. So, and here's the thing, if that's really what's going on. What that looks like. Yep, it is. And they actually used that sign. He used that sign, and it was like a good thing for them. And as it is, that was turned into something completely different with the war. But we know that wasn't originally a bad thing, right?
Yeah, that sign means so many different things in the ancient world. In the middle, that's the representation for the sun. You see that a lot in Norse paganism.
Or the Templars, right?
Yeah. And I had Robbie Marks on. He said some very fascinating things about the Templars, the early Templars especially, or like castrating themselves and
yes,
weird shit. So,
but they
like
did
that. Symbols that they took and they used them right for in these certain rituals but these, we know how ancient these symbols are and that it's the intention behind the use of it.
Well, and the thing is Joseph Smith says he's directly from he's a Merovingian. He says that he is from, like, literally Jesus Christ.
One thing I want to mention, just real quick, somebody did say, and I thought very, very much of a medicine wheel. And I thought, kind of like a medicine wheel also. And something else that I did notice, you're talking about Micmac. And I know for a fact, their medicine wheel has been reused by occultists. I've seen it on fucking books.
Mm-hmm. And same with their star, with the Micmac.
And literally used their fucking symbol on the front cover of it.
Yep.
And
the 8-pointed star.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. It was the 8-pointed star.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
it was that.
they believe in, this whole thing of Skota and Tamar Tefi, often identified as Tia Tefi. So these are the two. This is the story for these Kingston brothers. Okay. Another daughter of Zedekiah. And they describe her as a princess who fled to Egypt before settling in the British Isles, where her descendants supposedly founded the Scottish royal line. Okay. So this is what they say. And this is the Mormon story. If you talk to FLDS, no normal Mormon is going to know this or tell you this. And if they do know it, they're still not going to tell you it. So Joseph Smith believed, and we all get this thing called a patriarchal blessing when we're about in our teens, somewhere between 13 and 18. Okay. And usually, I guess if you don't want it, you don't have to get it, but typically that's what you do. We go to the patriarch and he tells you what line you're from, whether you're from the line of Manasseh or if you're from the line of Ephraim, and they just do this by the laying on of hands. There's no real genetic-y stuff behind it, but also they have all the records. So, whatever. They probably already looked it up, is my guess. I was from the line of Ephraim, but Joseph Smith himself was from both. He said he was the perfect creation. He was from the line of Judah, okay, the Manasseh line, and from Ephraim, from Mary Magdalene, because they say that Jesus went on and had children and had 3 wives. So 2 Marys and a Martha. I don't know the truth, but I do know the Templars believed in this. Okay. And we get these Templar stories that continue and live through all of this stuff I'm telling you guys to even this day, to the Kingstons who still are inbreeding because of this. Literally.
Heidi, I talked about this last night with the 3 wives. And have you ever read the what's her name? Ashiana Dean, I think that's her name. The Voyagers.
I haven't.
Have you ever heard of them, Nick?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's this chick who was channeling. I find it a little silly because it's starseed stuff, but some people are really into it. I find it very interesting because she brings up that there's in our realities there were 3 different Christ. And so you see the 3 wives and these 3, I don't know, it's just another 3.
Have you seen the 3-headed vases that show this?
I have not. So see, there's another one. You see this number so much, the 3 days in the tomb, which goes into so many other initiatory schools, right? Which could be physical,
the initiatory school,
or symbolic.
Do you know what Joseph Smith was doing at an initiatory? He set up his own initiatory school. Want to know what it was called?
Oh, yeah. What?
School of the Prophets. Heard that before? Because I know you probably have.
Well, that's what these people would do. Was they would take this ancient knowledge and they would run with it. They would create their own religions, kind of like Crowley and so many other people after him, even people before him. But you had mentioned earlier something about Joseph Smith and his Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yes. So
can you get into that?
Joseph, well, that's in my usual original presentation. I can pull it up at the end though and show you, because we do have a little clip of it, and it's very mixed between, I would say, they call it Reformed Egyptian, but really it is ancient native, like their language mixed with, if you look at the Micmacs, if you look at the Mandans, if you look at any of these people, it's almost identical. And then you mix it with the Enochian, it's almost the same. Okay. Wow. It's very similar. And Joseph Smith did not translate the Book of Mormon with words. He translated it into these symbols. So most people don't know that. He channeled it.
He met the angel and do you think that the Golden Book was something that was kind of etheric?
I 100% believe that Joseph Smith spoke to something. I don't think it was an angel, just like John Dee. Because why? When did he get the plates? Eventually, took a long time. After, I'll tell you when. After his firstborn of his fathers died, Alvin, after they tried to bring him back, in my opinion, but they did dig him up, and that is in the newspaper. And I do have a clipping of that. We know about Skull and Bones with that, and we'll get into that later. We know that. We also know he performed a quarter moon ritual, which I know I can tell you guys just that because you'll understand it. For those out there, I mean, he did this on the fall equinox. This isn't something that a folk magic person would do. And I'm no magician and I don't know everything about magic, but I do know how to look things up. Okay. People are coming at me right now because I can read a book. Look, I'm not a magician and I don't pretend to know everything about magic. That's not me. I do know enough to know what it is he was doing. That's what I need to know. That's my context. And I don't need to be a super magician to understand that because I have books and you can look things up, but it definitely wasn't folk magic. That you don't slit the throat of an animal. You don't, talk about your firstborns dying. You don't do certain things that they were doing, treasure hunting, all of this weird stuff that's in all of the different testimonies from neighbors. You wouldn't do that if you're just practicing folk magic. That's like, just folklore stuff. That's like the
other stuff.
I'm not discounting it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not discounting it.
So do you think that the golden plates were physical, or was it something more ethereal?
I wonder.
Download.
I wonder if it ever was. He says he gave them back to the quote unquote angel. We do know this. Theory? Yeah, the if they were real or not. I mean, he said he gave them back. So he said they were real. But
he talked about the Egyptian hieroglyphs and all. So Thoth had the emerald tablets. And in alchemy, green is, that represents the alchemical process. Well, there's many colors, but green is a big color. So the golden tablets would be the finalized product of the alchemical solution. So what if he received somehow this text, like an updated text from the angel or what the deity,
whatever it is, interdimensional,
Thoth, Hermes,
Here's the thing.
That's what it was. I mean, that's a theory.
Where did the Book of the Law come from? Where did the Book of the Law? It's same thing. What did he do?
You're right. They're all channeled things. If you think about it, it's all channeled shit.
Yeah,
it is. And what about Scientology? What about that? Channeled. And every one of them came. Yep. Every single one of those was like doing some kind of sexual thing because we know what powers things up. Let's
desert.
Right. Or with Joseph, it was polygamy. Or with Muhammad, it was a child bride polygamy. Or with, even the Jehovah's Witnesses, same thing, angel came. But with specifically Joseph, I think he was a little more honest. And so was Crowley. The two people that were the most honest, I hate to say this, but it's true because they said they were an angel, but they also said, well, Crowley didn't say, he thought it was an interdimensional, which is what I believe. But also Joseph said this angel had lived once before. That's not an angel. Angels aren't alive. They never were alive and had a body here. That's not how it works. Angels are angels. We can become like the angels, but we aren't angels. We can have fallen angels. We can have interdimensionals, all that stuff, i.e. the Elohim. But I don't believe that you can ever have, I mean, we're talking unless they're resurrected. I mean, they do play with necromancy, but I'm just saying he was alive once on this earth. Joseph Smith said that himself. Moroni was alive. He was a Native American that became white. That's what he said.
Oh, shit.
So he never said, anything else. He said he lived and he was part of this tribe and he came here to talk to him. So, when we look at all of that and he calls his God Elohim, I think he's really telling us the truth. I just think people don't want to hear it. And then Brigham Young changed it. And there was a reason for that too. I believe he was killed. Yeah. By his own people. So he said the quiet part out loud, and you just can't do that in magic or in other things and if you're in the club still, they're going to come, if you leave, better off. But I'm just saying he was still in the club, you can't just be doing stuff. But there was a lot of things that we see here, all these different stone fortifications. We see the Cherokee and their oral histories. They talk about the Moon-Eyed people. They talk about the Welsh builders. We've got stone things that do not make sense, stacking stones out in the middle of America. And we've got all these snake formations and snake mounds. what the hell is happening there when we look at it and say Prince Madog he's got this dragon that looks kind of like a snake that was on his flag. You know, they didn't bury their people like the natives did. They buried them and put stones. So they didn't put them up high. They didn't do any of that. It was very different. The Moon-eyed people were different than that. And also, a lot of people go back and forth on whether or not Madog was Quetzalcoatl.
Oh,
because he had a beard.
Have a thing with Quetzalcoatl too.
Yes, they do. Yes, extreme.
Some of them think it was like Jesus.
Correlation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when we look at this, and then we've got, you know, Lewis and Clark involved looking for Welsh Indians. We've got Thomas and Jefferson involved. We've got all these weird things. Like, what are you talking about? You know, what if it means nothing? Then why the heck do we have sources? Like, this isn't just gibberish. This isn't just me spouting off crazy stuff. Like, here's more. I've given plenty. Like, I'm just telling you. And what was the captain's name? I haven't made a correlation yet, but his name, you know, Captain John Smith, right? Woo. Okay, then. Like, why is it always a Smith? But anyway, and if it's not a Smith, it's a Mac. And I'll tell you why. But, you know, all of this stuff, look at their eyes. Look at this lady is Native American, but she looks Germanic and she's blonde with blue eyes. And so is her son. And how are they shaped? Like a moon.
Yo, you know what I thought
was
was
strange.
I thought one time, I don't know if it's, you know, possible, but like, you know, you're going on with this name Smith. And I know it's like such a, you know, huge name anyway, but when I was covering Skinwalker Ranch, I was like trying to follow like lineages, and you know, eventually you start like going back over to Europe, and like I was like noticing that like people were leaving for Liverpool and somewhere else. Like there was boatloads of those motherfuckers, those people coming over through New York. And there's a Smithtown on Long Island, and I was like, oh man, I was like, don't even tell me. Like, these motherfuckers are, you know, fucking coming in droves through New York.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because here's the thing. If you learn about the Smiths, they weren't even from New York. Guess where they were from? Massachusetts. They're from a little place called Topsfield, Massachusetts, which is located where today? Salem. Yeah. His grandpa was involved in the Inquisition. His grandpa was involved in the actual hanging of Mary Eastie, one of the most famous witches in Salem.
Oh, wow.
This is strange. And one of the books I was reading about this, they said something about hiding from the queen. And I'm like, why the heck would they be hiding from the queen? Well, when I talked to David Livingston, he like spoke to me about this. And in his work, it shows in Order Ab Chao, he's talking about the Pilgrim Society and the first families, right? Joseph Smith had 7 people on the original Mayflower that were related to him. 7. There was only 100 on the boat. Okay. A lot of these people were Rosicrucians and or people practicing alchemy, witchcraft, whatever you want to call. They were people, yes, being persecuted. Yes, it was a situation. We know this was happening in Portugal. We know this was happening all over the place. And we know this was happening with who? The Templars, for sure. So
the Catholics were having problems.
Right. And so when we're talking about these people, they're going to have to, like you said, like it's got to blend, right? So they're going to bring other people with them and encourage them to be like, hey, lady next door, let's go to America. Like, because they need to not have just a boat full of witches coming over here. But the Smith family wasn't this poor, destitute, nobody family. Captain Samuel Smith, he was an integral part of the Boston Tea Party. We know this. His father was involved in the Inquisition. His birthday is 1666 because they have the same name. So junior, senior, Samuel Smith, junior and senior. So the people can look this up and check it out. But all of this stuff, and combined with the fact that we know Wheelock is a big part of what? This Dartmouth College. He's the one that started it. And he's all about who in this? Not only the Indians, but the Jesuits. That's right. We knew they were going to pop up too. So when we're talking about all of this, you have to see like this is like one of the biggest woes, like woe in America. Because if all of this stuff is true, people always say, oh, the New World Order is going to take over. Hello. They've been here.
I was about to say they've already taken over.
Yeah, they've been here since the beginning, apparently. Because all of this stuff, we have to look at it, and it's very concerning when we see, Willock's copy of a Jesuit book, Gradus a Parnassium, in the Baker Library at Dartmouth shows that the Jesuits were always on his mind. Like, this is what they say. So this isn't even me. This is just a professor that wrote this little article. Here it is. You guys go look it up if you want. But like, all of this stuff goes together. When we look at it with a wider lens, when we look at Dartmouth and we look at the Smith family and we look at the witchcraft stuff, who was really the witches? Not the people being burned. And they probably weren't witches. They were probably alchemists. And what was Joseph Smith's mom known to be? She was a midwife. And plus, they were like big wigs of the town. They were like mayors. So,
right. So Heidi, you're telling me that the people who were really the witches at the Salem witch trials were not the people being burned, but the people doing the burning?
Yeah.
Me thinks they protest too much. Yes. I wish I'd have known. I'd have been quiet there.
You're good. I just started. I've been on the Occult Rejects, not even a year now, but I kind of brought a little bit of what I do on Grey Pilled over here. So, and Nick,
I like it.
I love it.
Yes,
I would have been quiet. That's funny.
No, please don't let that. No.
It's funny. I liked it for sure. And here's the thing. Like, why do you think they say me thinks you protest too much? What the hell was Francis Bacon even talking about anyways? People need to read their books. And not Kindle, why did they name it that? Because it's like kindling for a fire. They can start that crap on fire anytime they want. So they can change that. They can change it all day long. But, nobody remembers anything about, the Smiths in Massachusetts, unless you're from back there or whatever. And it's been very buried, and everybody thinks they're from New York now. But we never, ever, ever think about what happened to the Macks, right? His mom is Lucy Mack Smith. Her mom, want to know her name? Speaking of first families, her name's Lydia Gates. I've been busy. Lydia Gates, and her father was Daniel Deacon Gates, who is most certainly related to Bill Gates. And that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got these Macks, and they're very important, right? And nobody talks about them. In fact, Stephen Mack Jr. is actually known for founding Macktown, Illinois. He married Hononegah, and she was an Indian princess. He made a bunch of the treaties back in the day, and actually ended up with a whole bunch of their land. Okay. This is Four Lakes County, modern day Madison, Wisconsin. So very interesting there. We've got all this stuff, and we know that we've got cuckoo crazy string, and we can't go into string tonight, but King of Beaver Island, was he crazy? I don't know, but he started something called the Halcyon Illuminati. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, okay, so that Mac took off there and got Macktown. Okay. This is talking about them having their children and getting married and everything, and the whole story behind it. And it's super important. People should probably look into this. I'm just going to skip over it because it goes into tonight, but it's not the full piece of tonight. Right. His father was important too. Guess what? Stephen Mack Sr., he is actually the founder of Pontiac, Michigan. Oh, nobody ever told me that. How come? Mormons, how come? Wow. This is important. This is American history. Why do you guys hide this? Cool. Yeah. And so when we look at this, he was also involved in like an early on bank scandal. Of course he was. Hysterical. Yeah. So, this is proving, here you go, you guys, this is clip shots from the actual like little articles I have to go read. He became a successful fur trader and businessman, eventually claiming 1,000 acres of land. Not only that, but he got a whole bunch of money because at this point, when they signed the treaty, he got a bunch of money from his children as well. All of the children that have been persecuted under Indian reparations. So we got Almond Mack. Never heard of him before. Oh, he's a prominent figure in early Michigan history. He served as a state legislature. He did that in 1848. He's a successful merchant in Rochester, Michigan, where he also served as township supervisor and justice of the peace. He notably drafted and pushed through a bill chartering the Pontiac and Lapierre Plank Road in a single day. and benefited local commerce. So these are not nobodies like they lie and say. This is my point of showing everybody this. These are not nobodies. They want to say the Smiths were poor farmers and nobody knew anything about them. Okay, good. Whatever. That sounds great. Like, meanwhile, we've got the Smiths, you know, in Topsfield. They're all selectmen of Topsfield, which is like the mayor, and they're involved in the Boston Tea Party and, you know, whatever. Okay, sounds good. Like, these are not nobodies. These are not that. This is weird. This is absolutely weird. But
you find the same stuff when you look into the Jehovah's Witnesses with Charles Taze Russell and the Russell family. And I'm sure
do you want to know why?
That.
The Huntington Russell, William Huntington Russell is Joseph Smith's fifth cousin. That's why.
No shit. Okay, so they branched off and started these intentionally. Okay.
And guess what else? I've been doing my research. You ever heard of the Seekers movement that led into spiritualists? You ever hear of this?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's kind of like the first new agey stuff in America where they're like table tapping and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah. One of the Mack brothers took off because he was a seeker, and I can't prove it, but I mean, he went up to Canada and was never heard from again. But like I said, we're looking into Jane Leeds, all this stuff. We do know this, the lady that was a spiritualist that was very involved with the creation of Stanford. That's right. Stanford University. She was also very integral in the whole development with the railroad after her husband suddenly died, and she sold off her shares at a loss in a quick sale to dun-dun-dun, Brigham Young. So whatever, her last and she was definitely from a Mormon family, but she wasn't a Mormon. If you look it up, don't worry about it. Her family was, though. She comes from Mormon line, like directly, not way down the line. Just like with William Huntington Russell, fifth cousin, that's not that far. Like, come on. It's not twice removed. None of that. No. So when we look at this stuff, again, here we're talking about the Madog story and why is it so important? Keeping it alive for who? The Stewart audience. You know about the Stewart, right? Stewart line, that whole thing?
No, not too familiar. If you want to enlighten me.
The Jacobins and the Stewarts.
Oh, yeah. I know the
Jacobins, whatever. So that all has to do with that. And who was my family line that made me related to all these weird people? Stewarts, the son that was illegitimate. And he took off and went to South Africa for a while in hiding and then ended up in Kaysville, Utah. That's weird. I'm sorry. That's weird. Why? I don't know. Maybe they promised him heaven. Still working on figuring that out. So I do think that all of this together is a very interesting portrait. And I do think it does one thing. Whoop, that's not the one I wanted to show. I do think it shows legitimately that I do not believe Joseph Smith did anything to copy anything from Solomon Spaulding. I do believe they attended the same. Well, I know they attended the same teachings via his brother, right? I think I've pretty much shown that. I mean, hopefully. And I do know that the people that they persecuted heavily for trying to prove this Madog stuff, yeah, this is the best. Okay, I'm going to show you what happens when this guy, and he's a very Mormon, so hopefully, I hope it will play with the sound. If not, we might have to reshare. But I'm going to try and play this with a really short clip. So
go for it.
Let's see if it'll do it. Oh, it's not playing the sound. Okay.
Share it through the video file. Are you sharing it like you're sharing the screen?
Yeah, you can
I think I just might have to.
Can you upload it through your video file? Go to share and then go up to video file and share it that way.
Usually, if I just reshare it, I probably didn't hit share audio when I went to share. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you remove it, I'll re-add it.
Go to StreamYard. Yeah. And then you just go to down to present.
Woo.
And then you go up to video file.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you can add it in from there, and it'll make noise.
Oh boy.
Oh man, what we do? There we go. Nice.
Is it making noise?
We haven't added it yet. Here we go.
Okay. So the copper we know is from Southern Great Lakes Superior.
I see. Tower Island, where the Indians did most of it. But has it been analyzed to see if it has been smelted? Because we have found some on the continent that has been smelted that that's great antiquity?
Not to my knowledge.
It needs to be. Where are the copper? Where are the copper bracelets?
If they're not on display, then they're
No,
in
they're
our
not.
archives.
They're in your archive?
There is one on display.
Oh, a copper one?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And if you look in the timeline.
Okay. Now, your job here is you're curator. Do you work for the park department? Or,
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
State Park.
You're a historian or you're an archaeologist or a historian?
Actually, my degree is in accounting, and they hired me when State Park. I also function as the State Park Superintendent.
I see.
And I've been here since 1981.
Okay.
And the idea in most State Park superintendents prior to me were coming out of biology
I see.
and history.
Okay.
Then as State Parks became a large revenue for the state of West Virginia, they decided maybe they needed business people.
Oh, well,
so
good.
what they've done with us is, and now the new superintendent's coming on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
What happens, every state park is different. West Virginia's a magnificent state park system. So what happens is, over the last 10 years, I probably have read everything, gone to as many classes as you do once you become engrossed in your job.
That this turkey does. Now you can see, after listening to Susan.
Oh, you're muted, Heidi.
So that is the end of that little presentation. But okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. First of all, he's like, "So you're a historian?" No. She said yes.
What?
Yeah. Then she said, and he's like, "Oh, so you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah." They put this guy in prison. He pushed too hard on this Madog thing. I believe that they did that. Like, I'm just telling you guys, Alan Wilson, James Michael, they say all their stuff is bunk. I'm just saying this. There's a lot of other resources. There's a lot of other things that you guys can look at here that we presented, like all of the different sites I've cited, like tons of stuff. Okay.
Was that person a King Arthur historian?
No, she was an accountant.
No, I saw King Arthur II on there. I don't know what that was about, but
Yeah,
I've been doing a deep dive on the Arthurian mysteries for
Then
the last couple months.
You will run
the
straight
Orders of the
into the
Quest.
Kingstons. Yeah. Because that's where they claim. Yeah. And so it's just very strange. And the guy that was asking her the questions. He was a Mormon. So yes, he does very MK Ultra. I don't know. They both did. But whatever the case may be, I will say this for them. I do believe they were teaching this. I do believe they were teaching John Dee's. I believe Dartmouth early on was a mystery school. I believe they were teaching ways to channel. I believe they were teaching a whole lot of other stuff. And at the end of the day, I just think we need to understand that this is what was going on at that time and the history of that time, right? Like, I mean, clearly, Solomon Spaulding did not have anything to do with the Book of Mormon if you're looking at all of this at all. But people will still tell you Joseph Smith took his stuff and wrote the Book of Mormon. Or was it just his notes from the damn class and he put it in a trunk in Canada? That's my guess, you know? So I just think it's funny that they just want to squash all this history. I'm going to be starting a history one, just, you know, Mormon history stuff, because this is weird. It's also unfortunate. I just think that even if the worst things happen, like the worst things happened in history, we deserve to know. It's fair.
Absolutely.
You know?
Let the people decide for themselves, right?
Yes.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's the past. We can't do anything about the past. What are we going to do?
Unfortunate. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares?
Learn from it, but
yeah.
that's about it. You can't harp on it too much.
Exactly. And at least we will learn maybe why certain people are so pissed off, because I'll tell you who does have the history, and that is the Native Americans or the Native Canadians, because you know what? They have oral history they can't burn. And so they just can't tell you all about it. Like, they're not going to tell me. They're not going to tell their history just for fun. But they do talk about plates. They talk about the copper plates. They talk about a lot of things. So Bernays, I'll have to check. I wouldn't be surprised. I know Rockefeller is Joseph Smith's cousin. I can't remember how far. It's further down the line than Huntington Russell. But, you know, ever since I learned about this whole Pilgrim, Rosicrucian, angle. It makes a whole lot more sense about people coming here. It makes a whole lot more sense if you're digging into Arthur, especially from, you know, the whole situation with Francis Bacon's writings. And you go into like, I mean, come on. We are the brave new world, in my opinion. So I think we were a grand, you know, scheme that they created, and they just wanted to see if it would work. I really do. You know, rich people do dumb shit all the time, and definitely they want to try, like, oh, let's just try this, or oh, let's just try that. You know, that's the point. And so, yeah, you know, it's silly to keep hiding it. Yeah, and they are still doing the things from today. Like the Kingstons didn't go away. Why do they not punish them? Why do they not punish them? They are actually an atrocity if they are marrying their cousins and aunts and whatever. That's illegal, right? That's illegal. So why are they not punishing them? I don't know. Ask Mitt Romney, because he keeps getting a shit ton of money from them because they own all the Mavericks in the West Coast, most of them. And they're involved in energy credits and all kinds of weird stuff, like people, and, you know, whatever. But it's very interesting. And it's not just them. We see the Jesuits align with the Mormons. When? Go look up David M. Kennedy. LDS Abuse has talked about this on the show before. I've been deep diving it. It gets even worse.
And then I've been talking about this lately. You know, the Rosicrucian Rose and Cross is the same exact one as the Lutheran Church. And it's right there, you know. So you know that these guys were in these secret orders. And it's like, hey, wow, why aren't you talking about this?
Yo,
You know,
when the
talk about
Lutheran Church came out, that was for occultism. That did kind of like split a line between a lot of them too.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's something I plan on doing more of a deep dive on. I'd love to talk to someone from the Amorc Society, but you know how that goes.
Guess who was in Amorc?
Who?
Sirhan. I have his card.
No shit.
I do.
He was totally just, dude, that
gone.
Guy. They
Want to
had
know
him
why?
rigged and ready to go.
Well, he had a mentor. His name was Thomas Rathke. And then they gave some bunk story about Thomas Rathke. There's no pictures of him. He's the only one you can't find hardly anything about on the CIA declassified docs. But I did find a couple things. And what I did find was birthday alignment. The one that they say that it was, it doesn't match the birthday. But guess what? I found the birthday. One. Guess where he lived later? Utah. He was a Mormon. There you go. This shit can't be made up. Like, come on. I have his obituary. I just barely did that one. So yeah, Sirhan, you know, it was sad. It's sad now. He's freaking alive. Let him out, you assholes. Like Newsom shot that down. He was paroled and Newsom shot that down. That is absolutely
like the people who killed RFK were right there with him.
Guess
They
what?
were the guys right there with him.
Yeah. Okay. So Thomas
Same with
DiCucci,
JFK. In my opinion, the driver did it. That's just,
I don't know.
Yeah, hot take.
I will tell you this: 8 days before JFK died, he came here in Utah and gave a speech. So there's that.
I just know the CIA has that gun, you know, and you see the driver turn around, and I don't know.
I think it was the triple thing with the mob and the whole thing. I think it was all three.
They make you look this direction, look that direction, look over here, but really it's happening right in front of your eyes, and you're not seeing it. And that's what I've seen with some things, but it may not be true for all. So.
But Nick, since I spoke to you last, guess what? I did learn, and I will be coming back we'll have to do a deep dive on this one. You guys will laugh. Do you know about Kerry Thornley's movement? You know Kerry Thornley from JFK? Remember?
No.
So he starts this cuckoo movement. It's a really new agey weirdo movement. And Kerry Thornley's like integral. He's a big part. He like wrote a book and everything. He's a big part of the JFK story. You guys could look it up. But guess what? He's a Mormon. Oh, that's right. He's a Mormon. Wow. Always there are Mormons behind Mormons. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And we can share the screen if you've got him on there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then people will know what I'm
talking about. I've been looking.
Okay.
How's that happening?
That's the wrong one, right? Yeah.
That's the hold on, let me.
Hey,
I'm like,
Heidi,
not
can
that
you
late.
remove that from
Oh,
the
good.
studio, Heidi, the other one? I think you have to remove it.
I'm sorry.
There
It
you
was
go.
just
no, you're good. You're good. It's StreamYard. Trust me.
Oh boy.
I do solo shows and it gives me a hard time.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's funny, we see these things constantly. It's more than the Freemasons. These are brotherhoods.
Oh, yeah,
These are
yeah.
brotherhoods. This is
And-
more than regular Freemasons. This is more than regular Mormons. These are
And-
top elites aligned
Mhm.
together. Whether they be
Absolutely.
Jesuits or Mormons or JCs or I forgot to tell you, there is a whole Jewish connection.
Well, I
And
was going to
that
say, people
one's-
think it's just
ooh.
the Jays behind Trump, and really, it's the Knights of Malta. It's all these orders of these.
He's got that German blood, that good
Yeah,
German blood.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another
Fred
thing, too.
Christ Trump,
Yep.
right?
get
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from
It's something weird about that, and then the whole thing with Barron.
You know what the
whole-
mom's name
tales,
was?
the book that was written and all that.
Mary,
that's a whole
Mary
different
Christ.
tangent.
How do you like that?
It's wild.
Yeah.
Another thing with Germany, Jules, Rosicrucianism and Lutheranism both came out of Germany too.
No shit.
Yeah, so that was
Well,
even like the thing.
There you go. Same origin place. So.
And obviously, if this Madog situation is real, and we look at later, where did they send all the Nazis that came from Project Paperclip? They sent them to Alabama. And where did Madog go? Those people probably already have an alignment there. If it's real, and that's what happened. If it's a Rosicrucian society set up from this weird prince that came over once upon a time, I mean,
well,
come
they
on.
took care of those doctors and those Nazis, and Alabama would be the best place to put them there, or probably my state right next to them, Mississippi. But like, they were a part of their own order too, right? Like you had
and the John
Society and the Brill-
Birchers and the KKK.
you had the Brill Society and all that stuff. And so they were kind of, they were taking care of their, their brothers and in a way, right? Like their brethren of
100%.
whatever order. And so, the elite are always going to take care of their own. That's
Well, and
something
if we listen, we see it. Like Nick, I know you'll recognize this for sure. In the FLDS, if you go back to the FLDS movement, the fundamentalists, they don't call each other brother and sister. Want to know what they call each other? Breuer and Sawyer. Sound familiar?
That is weird. Goy.
Yeah. Right. And when we get into the Jewish connection, it is also very interesting because even though Joseph Smith couldn't read or write in English because apparently he was completely illiterate and ridiculous, but he was, don't worry, taking some lessons. Want to know what they were? They were Hebrew. Want to know who from? Well, that would be from Isaac Sykes. Who's the Sykes family? You don't say Seixas. Well, Gershom Sykes was one of the very few people that were at the inauguration of George Washington. He was a critical person that escaped Portugal. And why? Because he was one of the ones forced to become a Christian because, Inquisition and stuff. So, and the wife was a Levy, Levy, Rachel Levy. And that also gets very interesting. And all this always goes back to Zabbatai Zevi. If you guys don't know who that is, you should probably look him up. Wow. But anyways, yeah. Why is there the star that there is on the Nauvoo temple? I'm not going to call it the JE star because it isn't. Look it up. It goes back to magic. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I even said. Like that was being used in the Golden Dawn before. Like it was fucking.
Well, I mean, for Solomonic magic, right?
And that
the hexagram
is what
of
they were
Solomon.
doing.
Even planetary magic, I used that. I used to.
What? Well, what did Joseph Smith die with in his pocket?
Well, we talked, Heidi,
with the
we
Jupiter
talk a
Talisman.
lot how they use the hook cross, the swastika and the sigil of Solomon in tangent, like they are in fucking in tandem, like they used it together. A lot of occultists did because it had power together. And so when you look at World War II, and even I talk about this a lot on my show, gang symbolism, it's like they have these sigil wars going on in the street, right? But I just think these wars
charging
all this magic that's happening behind the scenes.
I don't even think they know half the time. Here's the thing. Like the Mormons, like that go to the temple and we do like Typhonian stuff. We do the Y, we do all this true order of prayer. We do the square. We do
Nick was talking about that the other day. Okay.
We do it. And here's the thing. Why would they have people that have no knowledge do something? Want to know why? Want to know what the University of Utah does on their halftime shows so that they can win? They do something. They called it charging the house. Figure it out. Figure it out. They're charging their house. And that's what pisses me off is they're using old lady grandmas and grandpas to charge up their bullshit. And it makes me mad. And I'm like, stop it. If you want to charge up your own stuff, do it. Go ahead. But
You got, you got 12 kids. Use them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Joseph Smith did. Want to hear another one? One last thing. Joseph Smith had a son. We all know what dark magic is, the very most price you could pay, right? And dark magic gets a child. We know this. A newborn is even worth more, and a son is worth the most. And, Joseph Smith, before he got the plates, the firstborn son of his father, suddenly died. Okay. From an overdose from his doctor for no shit constipation. So that's what happened. And that was weird. And also they dug him up a whole bunch, and that's a whole weird story. People can check that out. There's a Palmyra article about it. If you Google it, it will come right up. They ran it in the paper 3 or 4. But Joseph Smith's child was born shortly after that. Right after he got the plates, he had a son, like a couple months later, obviously, after this ceremony. And the son supposedly was so deformed, he only lived for moments and then died. Right. He didn't. They used that and they paid the ultimate price. In my opinion, that is dark magic, and that is all over it. Like, I'm sorry. This goes back so much further than people understand. This is a Canaanite religion. That is what it is. And I don't care. Go do it.
It all.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. People
absolutely right.
Quit taking the innocent with them. Please.
And Heidi, it's Molk Day, right? It's MLK Day.
Right.
If y'all don't know, talk about a lot on Great Pill. Moloch is not a deity. He's nowhere in any pantheon. Molk, and shout out to Esoteric Eddie for enlightening me with this. A Molk is a type of sacrifice that they would do, particularly in ancient Phoenicia, Canaan, right? And it's the idea of what deity you are performing this Molk sacrifice to. So like at Bohemian Grove, everyone thinks that it's Moloch. No, the elites are performing a mock Molk sacrifice to Minerva for wisdom, right?
That's right. Who's on the flag of California?
Yeah, and so y'all stop being scared of some like fucking, and then
it was funny that we probably
the bull was the Baal Peor or Baal Hamon. There's many balls.
No, we've probably created a Baal and a Moloch all together with our thought at this point now.
There is a Moloch in some astral realm, just like there's a Baphomet and there's a Slender Man and all this stuff that people have created, these tulpas and these servitors. We talk about this a lot on my show, Heidi, and a lot on Occult Rejects too. But yeah, absolutely, you're right with the whole Canaanite stuff. But yeah, no, it's so now we have a day out of it, right? MLK Day, which is said to represent this man who died. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it definitely, but the MLK also goes back to Melchizedek, right? It's a very ancient term as far, because that was back when they didn't use the vowels, in ancient Hebrew. They only use consonants, and especially in magic, in Enochian magic. And so but they would do Molk sacrifices in the valley of
take out the vowels,
Gehenna, which that's referred to as hell, right? It's where people would go to burn their trash, but also burn their children to Baal and other deities. So
yep. And you guys should start looking at state seals. Look, I mean, if people put 2 and 2 together, they would have known it was Minerva, right? Like, I mean, come on, it's on their state seal, it's on their state flag. California tells you all about who they're about. Like, and as far as the Mormons are concerned, Mormon, I don't know, but I'll show you some. I've showed Nick before about their priesthood. If you want to look up their priesthood symbol there, Jules, it's just missing the little part in the middle for Mammon. Mammon and Melchizedek priesthood symbol.
Okay.
You'll see they're identical except for the little guy in the middle. So yeah, it's always the same thing. Mormon money magic, and it's not just Mormons, it's all of them. I hate to say it, There's a little bit of all of them there. And yeah, it's interesting. So
Very weird.
But even all the
Very.
teachings in the Melchizedek, because we read Initiates of the Flame, we read Melchizedek in the Mystery of Fire. For someone who's saying that I learned my tulpa stuff about tulpamancy from David Lynch, I know he mentions it, but no, I've done a lot of research into egregore.
If you say anything,
What just came out of his mouth.
if you read the
Watch my
same book,
show.
you're a plagiarist.
Right.
He doesn't get it. He mentions him, but he doesn't get into like
Here, I'm going to pull this up.
the idea, but
Yeah.
he does mention Tulpa.
So we have this.
There you go.
And I'm a big Lynch fan. You see the eraser head back. We actually
That's
watched
cool.
it on stream. We did a whole Twin Peaks analysis on Patreon. Took 6 months.
Yo, you ever
See
do
it?
something with David Lynch again? Please let me know. I'll come on for that.
Yeah.
See the star over there too. That's
Do Lost Highway soon.
the Mick.
But yeah, no, this is interesting that you're bringing this up, Heidi, because a lot of people are starting to talk about Melchizedek on like it's starting to pop up on like YouTube Reels and
Yo,
TikTok.
the seal of Melchizedek. Now, if you were to look, go back up again. I'm sorry, just real quick.
That's on the
That's
temples.
pretty much the 8-pointed star right there.
It's
look.
If
There's the
you-
altar.
there it is. Oh, this is probably about Mormonism, honestly. Like
but,
on it. I mean, like a lot. I've seen this before. I think it has to do with it. And if you look at this symbol
that one,
without,
that
Which one, Nick? This one?
right there. Yeah, that's pretty much the Micmac
That's-
medicine wheel.
it is.
The
It
signet
used to
of
be very
Melchizedek,
popular with the Mormons.
King
Yeah,
of
they-
righteousness and priest of the Most High God, King of Shalom, which is King of Peace, the octapha or eightfold endless triangle, which being a geometric figure composed of lines continually reproduced to infinity by right angles, horizontals, perpendiculars, and diagonals, was held by our ancient brethren among all nations as a symbol of the divine omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence, universal, indefinite, and eternal, infinite and eternal. Sorry.
Yes, just like time and all eternity. But
Back to the
they
intention
just steal
behind these
people's
symbols.
everything.
Yeah.
They steal
yeah.
it. And that's what they do. They've stolen a lot of things from Solomonic
no,
magic.
I'm
This
sorry.
is literally in a temple. You can see
Oh.
that this is in a window.
Oh, this goes
And
to a temple
this-
study.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Oh,
I'm telling you. And then the top one, if you slide down just a little more, this one right here is literally on the train station, one of our earlier buildings in Ogden. I'm going to do a little thing about that because I was there just looking at it for my daughter's wedding. And I was like, I see you. It's everywhere. It's just everywhere. Yeah.
Interesting.
We can't run from it. We can't hide from it. But if you know about it, you can protect yourself at least, at the very minimum. It's all you can do. Magic is intention. And if you make sure your intentions are focused correctly and not just letting it leach out all the time, like that's probably wise. So yeah, watch yourselves. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yo, check this. Yeah, that was the I'm sorry, the 8-pointed star. That was the Micmac one.
Yes.
I just want to
Yep.
show you something here too. Pretty interesting. Share the screen. Wanted to show what I was getting at earlier.
You're cursed. Who's cursed, Mickey?
I hope not me.
Whoa.
Wow.
Someone lives in fear. Just kidding. But
Nah.
no, this was very enlightening. This was one of the first times I've talked about Mormonism. I've talked about Scientology and all these other religions, kind of these
There it is. Yep.
the roots. And those colors, there's the alchemical colors, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right,
Wow.
and then,
Yep.
then check this one out. What do you want me to show? Did
There
the
you go.
Screen pop up. It's the same fucking image.
That's the reason
And
why.
that's from the occultist book.
That's the
Mango.
reason why they wanted the
shit.
LDS to interbreed with the native people, no matter which ones they were. It was and the Asian people now they kind of push it to harness that energy. They know where the magic lies. It's period. And if you guys think that Mormonism ended with Joseph Smith, most of his descendants settled half of America, including the whole West Coast was Brigham, and the rest of it was the Max. And it gets wild when we start looking at it. The people that they hide are the most like interesting and important, basically. We got the Romneys who took off to Mexico. We got the Macs who kind of settled Midwest and took off to Canada. We've got all kinds of people infiltrating Russia. Do you know there were Russian missionaries before Joseph Smith died? That's kind of concerning, especially since he was really good friends with, I don't know, they call them Jews, but they're not. I mean, the crypto Jews. And yeah, so the Levies were crypto Jews.
What, the Khazars?
Yeah, the Levies, she was a crypto Jew and they were into banking. The
Like
Sykes,
Zelensky.
who she married, he was half and half. He was half Sephardic, and he goes on to be one of the most, Gershom Sykes is like a huge deal in Jewish today. So people can look it up. I'm not saying it's all the Jews.
No.
It's all the people. It's all of them. So yeah, they're all involved. They're all in this together, but they don't know it because it's only the elite. You guys know this. Like, you've studied enough. Nick's been in it and studied plenty. We know and we can see it isn't everybody. They're not going to tell some dumb schmuck that is there for dinner about everything. Just not going to do that. They're not going to level him up. Yeah.
Or the guy who's there for like a social club, some Blue Lodge guy.
They're happy to see you, but you're not getting the level up. You're not getting the path you might think you're getting. Even if they are leveling you, it's not the same thing. You're probably there to do their bidding and stay on your damn square. And that's just the truth. I hate to say it, but most of America, I always say, one nation under Freemasonry, because sorry. Yeah.
The founding fathers, they were Masons. They were deists. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And you know what? If it was honest, that's the biggest problem I have with it. It's just not honest. Stop taking loosh from people that don't know what you're doing. It's crap, and then I'll shut up maybe. Yeah, climb the mountain like Crowley. You heard about what happened to the people with him. Make sure.
Oh yeah. He lost, I think, 1 or 2, right?
Oh,
I'm not climbing that mountain with you, Pallid.
No, I wouldn't climb. No, you know what? Nobody climbed with him again after that. So, yeah. So I did want to say one fun thing. When we talk about Skull and Bones for Utah, people often think that they came and copied them. No, the alma maters of Skull and Bones, the actual people that went there and set it up and everything, came here and set that up on purpose. And they also were procuring certain people that were part of very important German families to come here. Like, I don't know. Let's see if you recognize Peter Thiel's uncle, Maser, Maeser. He was the first principal at BYU. So that's fun. I have his autobiography, 1927 from BYU. Yes, he was very, very interesting. He studied underneath a guy that studied underneath Karl Marx. So if you're wondering where it all went wrong, I mean, we can tear it all apart if we do each religion that way. There you go. But Peter Thiel's uncle, yeah, that's scary. I mean, it's always those people. It's not like, oh, if I just work hard enough, I'm gonna, make it like this guy. No, that guy had it made when he was born. Sorry. So, yeah, not that we
babies.
can't.
Nepo babies.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's why I always say just keep an eye on all of them. If it looks shady, probably is. So,
right, Ryan.
Absolutely, multiple things can still be.
Absolutely, the truth.
I'm still learning
usually,
every day.
Yeah, the truth is always somewhere in the middle, and yeah, absolutely. I'm always like I'm learning something every day that is somehow shifting my opinion on something, or research that can, that I can link new things together on. And
I'm just a researcher doing my
fascinating
best.
journey.
Yeah. Well, that's all we can do. Yeah. We can't know everything. And I don't know that you would want to, because look what happened to Nietzsche.
Once you know everything, you know nothing.
Divine madness.
It's also a spiritual journey as well.
Yeah.
Heidi. So yeah. So,
I wouldn't want that. Yeah. We'll just do our best.
People fuck with gematria too much, even start to get like a little fucking loopy.
Oh yeah. Anybody that gets like too into anything in particular, which is why I'm always shifting gears, it's just not good for you.
Yeah. I even try to do that with my own topics, try to jump around so I don't get stuck in one. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. South Carolina is very interesting.
There's a loose
Yeah.
connection with the
The
finding.
Carolinas are very interesting,
Apparently it has.
especially
tunnels again.
Freemason. Yeah. But you never know. You never know what you're going to get, right? So with the Federal Reserve and different things with Mormonism and all kinds of stuff that I've learned with some new books I've gotten, it really has opened my eyes about where they really split off. When Joseph Smith died, that was critical. He did not leave a predecessor, and a whole bunch of people claimed to be like, I'm the prophet and I'm the prophet and I'm the prophet. So they all did this, but those lines are so important. Like I said, we've got the Halcyon Illuminati. We've got, brothers that took off with him. We've got somebody that went out to Arizona, that, Canada, all these different places. The Romneys took off to Mexico. We need to look at this. The railroads are in with the Harrimans that are in with Brigham Young. That's interesting. We've got all kinds of connections all the way across, and it's not just the railroads. It's everything. So, the mining is scary. They sold off a whole bunch of the mining to the crown. Like, how much of America is even owned by America anymore? I don't know. Yeah, scary.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yes.
How long has it been like that? Yeah.
The Mazer connection is not a distant, like it's actually not distant.
Well, that goes
at all,
to ask
1927 biography of him himself. He'll tell you, Carl G. Mazer. Check out his biography.
Yeah. So I say that the Revolutionary War was a giant sacrifice.
100%.
Blood over the land. The newly founded land, right? It goes back into the ancient tribes. And so,
yes.
So
not only that, but the whole war over slavery wasn't exactly what it seemed to
that
be.
too.
So,
that was a way to, well, you got to look at who owned most of the ships and the cotton plantations, right?
Oh, the Lees are very in close with so many people. It's including Canada, very interestingly enough. So,
oh wow.
History's amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Especially hidden
Yeah,
history.
it gets that way. Yeah, it gets to that point where you just go, whoa, why is that this way? And, at the end of the day, it's knowledge. You just don't give it power. Like you'll be wiser for it, and you'll see the game before the game occurs. That's what this is.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Jules.
Hell yeah, this was awesome.
Oh my goodness.
It was fun.
This was fun, Heidi. This definitely was. It was good to finally sit down.
I always love when she comes on for the Mormon stuff.
Yeah, Mormon Central.
Yeah, when she comes on to cover her stuff, it's always a blast too.
And I've still got Onassis. I started that forever ago, and I
got burnt out on that. You did a lot of work on that.
Oh my gosh, it's because it's not done. This is one book on Onassis's Foya Docs. So, yeah.
Good luck with that.
I didn't know. I tried. I'm still trying. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you guys like what you hear, find me Unfiltered Rise Podcast. I'm everywhere podcasts are served. You can find me unfilteredrisepodcast.com and hopefully on Spotify. If you can't find me that way, usually you can find me at Heidi Luv LUV. Thank you so much, you guys.
That was great. You just plugged yourself and everything. Like I didn't even have to. Awesome.
Yeah.
She knew what time it was. She's like, all right, it's time to wrap this
He's
up.
like getting tired. I can tell Nick.
No, that was really that was a lot of that was a lot of
It was
shit.
a lot.
I love that you had your own presentation and everything.
Oh hell yeah. That's how
Yeah.
she does it every time she comes on.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I try to bring proof because it sounds crazy.
Brings receipts, yeah.
Thank
Jules,
you, everybody.
Of course. Jules, you want to let everybody know what's up with you again?
Yeah, man. This was a great show tonight, guys. Heidi, again, it's great to see you and great to talk to you. Hopefully, we'll be able to have you on Grey Pilled sooner than later. So we'll talk in the back channels about that. Guys, go check out the shows we did this weekend. We had a few people on Saturday. Trebles Garcia, Doc Brown was there for a minute, Catalyst Jones, and we talked about liminal spaces in the forest and all sorts of stuff. And the night before that, we did part 2 on the gateway process, and my wife was there to join us with Eros, Headless, Ethan. It is a good time.
Hell yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah. We have to do a part 3, I guess. We have to finish it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
So,
so 2 weeks actually. Not this Friday, but the Friday after that. We're going to schedule.
Okay. And then go check out my cryptid watch from last night. It was a good time. It wasn't really much of a cryptid watch, about 15 minutes of that, but we got to talk about a lot of stuff and watch some other videos. So may do more solo live streams like it was in the first year of Gray Pilled. Tune in to Rustic Gods Wednesday. We'll be talking about Eros and Psyche. And then Gods of the Morning Wood. It's a Patreon show, but we stream the first hour to YouTube and, well, not Twitter anymore, but the Disagree to Agree Rumble channel. But that Saturday, we're talking about Chapter 2 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, and we are talking about the Volsunga Saga, and it's going to be a good time. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/GrayPillPodcast. Only way to get sticker packs and the merch as it starts to roll out. Follow me on Twitter at GrayPillPod, Instagram, GrayPill_podcast. Go follow me on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, just Graypill Podcast. And go follow the Occult Rejects on Twitter, X, whatever, at Occult Friends. And then on Instagram, I think it's the Occult Rejects, as it is on everything else. And be sure to go to occultresearchinstitute.org and check us out there as well. You can see a lot of people that you see on the shows and kind of see what they're about. And yeah, again, this was a great show. Thank you, Heidi, and thank you, Nick.
Oh, thank you. I had a blast, man. That was
like
awesome.
The stream, everybody. Like the stream.
I like or tap it.
A bunch of people watching should see a bunch of likes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a blast. Thank you both. That was really a good time. And everybody in the chat, I mean, between all the channels, it was awesome to see all the comments. A lot of people seem to be into it. And again, that's why I like to go live. I like to see what people are saying in there. And that is the end of another Occult Rejects. And thank you very much. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.